Morning, welcome to our coffee morning. This morning I thought I'd talk a little bit about how we come to make decisions for ourselves and maybe how we change our minds as well. In 1790, the philosopher Edmund Burke wrote, "Because half a dozen grasshoppers under a fern make the field ring with importunate chink, while thousands of great cattle reposed beneath the shadow of the British oak, chew the cud and are silent. Pray do not imagine that those who make the noise are the only inhabitants of the field." I suppose most of us negotiate our lives in an ordered fashion, following the habits and customs that our life's experience has shown to be reasonably successful. The evidence is that we still do and believe those things that work for us. These sorts of things may include our leanings in matters of politics or faith, health choices like diet or exercise, or opinions on, say, our social morality. Many of these will be very strongly held, and others may be less so. We usually keep to those ideas until we change them. So what sort of things would do that? Well, we would hardly change a strongly held belief on a whim, but that may be all that it takes to change the brand of tea or your favourite chocolate. Either way, something happens that persuades us, one way or another, to change our minds. Sometimes we are persuaded to change our minds by something we've witnessed for ourselves. A place you've visited and found boring, on closer examination, is revealed to be far more engaging than you previously thought. Or seeing an act of kindness from a person that you had thought was cold-hearted and distant may do it. We're approaching elections, so one of the candidates may have a strong enough case to make you change your mind and give them your vote. Well, stranger things have happened. Then there is being faced with unassailable evidence that persuades you. The evidence is there before your eyes, totally convincing, no doubt whatsoever. You are persuaded. But what about long-held views and beliefs? Those can be difficult to shake just because we have them forever and never really had cause to challenge them. So change here may feel a bit like failure, even though it is actually a triumph of good sense. We are often persuaded by people who we trust. We trust them because they've been trustworthy before, and you feel confident they will be again, so you're prepared to believe them. But are you persuaded by a majority view? Do you do it because everybody else is? This is a bit more tricky though. Is the majority always, or even ever, right enough to persuade you? Our companies spend fortunes, millions, on separating us out from our money, so they must believe in mass persuasion works. But does it really matter that much whether we believe one thing or another? Well, yes, it does. Although many of our beliefs are trivial and don't really make much difference to us or anyone else, which brand of tea or chocolate you prefer or why, but some are vitally important. Just as important is how we come to have these beliefs. How and by whom are we persuaded? To return to my much-used friends, the fishermen, James and John. They were human, so they must have had their doubts and re-examined their premises, checked their conclusions, and even tested the alternatives, and were persuaded by what they themselves had seen, heard, and witnessed, and then stuck to their guns. This was important because their words and actions were to influence and persuade many, many others. Now, I spoke earlier what Burke said about the noisy chirpings of grasshoppers. So is Burke right when he warns us about our sources, that we take care to examine what chirpings we are persuaded by? Well, you could decide on that. So enjoy your coffee and cake, have a great day, and make it even better by phoning a friend.